Alright, so now we're going to do drawing number 3. As you can see, we already have the border drawn. And drawing number 3, again with all the others we're using the side 16. The height of the front view is 2 inches. We're doing construction lines. 2 points to make a line. 2 inches from the circle, measuring up, and draw your construction line. Pause the video so you can catch up. Now, the width of the drawing is 3 inches. Again, same as it always has been. You're measuring sideways now. You're going to measure twice so that you can get a parallel line and draw your construction line. So now your shape is going to fit inside here. The front view is going to fit inside here. We know, just the same as the last two, that the width at the top is 1 inch. So I'm going to measure over 1 inch. 2 points. Doesn't matter where they are. The further apart you get, the better it's going to be. But it doesn't matter where you put them. Make my construction line. And the height is the same as the previous drawings as well. Up 1 inch. And draw your construction line. Now, if we go ahead and draw what we know exists on this, because sometimes that helps. If we take a moment and draw what we know exists, we can make this line dark, and we know that it is 2 inches tall. We know that it is 3 inches wide, and over on the end over here it's 1 inch tall. So we know that those are part of the drawing. Now, the distance here, take a look and see if you can find out what that measurement is. It's not 1 inch. Okay, so we know it's not 1 inch. We know the measurement is 3/4 of an inch. 3/4 in a football game, 3/4 in a dollar, and there are 3/4 in an inch. So we go 1, 2, 3/4. And again, 2 points to make a line, and we want to make those construction lines. So take a moment, see if you can catch up with where I'm at. Okay, so now we have our object lines here, down, across 3 inches, up 1 inch. Now we need to go back 3/4 of an inch. And then all we have to do is connect the dots. We don't need to draw a construction line because we know exactly where it's going to be. And there's the front view. Take a moment and get caught up. Okay, so now we got to do the top view. So we're going to, as the same as we always have, we're going to skip up 1 inch. 2 points to make a line. We want it to be parallel with all the others, so we want to make sure we measure twice. and draw your construction line. If you need to, go ahead and circle right here because we know the top view is going to start right there. Now when you look at this drawing, how fat is the drawing? We don't want the height, we don't want the width, we want the thickness of it, the fatness of it. Take a look, see if you can figure it out. Okay, so now that we know that it's 1 inch fat, we're going to measure up from that circle. 2 points to make a parallel line. Draw that construction line. And for all intents and purposes, our top view is done. Let's take a look and see if we can find it. We know that on top of this, there's a square, because that's easy to see that the top view has a square. And we know the top view of this is a square, so we can go ahead and draw that in. And then the only other thing we don't know is the slanted piece here. And whenever you look at a diagonal surface, when you look at it from the top or when you look at it from the side, it becomes a rectangle. And lo and behold, there's a rectangle for you. And this is the main reason for making construction lines, so that you don't have to measure or find them. It's already done for you. So your top view is these 3 rectangles. Square, rectangle, rectangle. Take a moment and get caught up. All right, so now we're going to do the side view. And the side view, we have to skip over 1 inch. So from the edge of your drawing, measure over 1 inch twice, so we can have a parallel line to the rest of the drawing. We know that it is 1 inch thick here, 1 inch fat here. So we're going to go 1 inch fat here. So we're going to go over 1 more inch. Again, measure twice. And once again, if you run into your name, just stop. Don't try to draw through your name. Don't freak out about it. Just stop at your name. It's okay. And let's go ahead and circle this spot so we know where we're going to start the side view. Take a moment and get caught up. All right, finally, we have our side view. So let's take a look and see what we know. We have the shapes in here. It's already done. We've done our measurements. So now we need to figure out, we know the bottom of the shape is right here. So we can go ahead and make that a dark line because we know it has a bottom. The shape looking this direction here, this shape is going to be a square. We know that it's 1 inch high and it's 1 inch wide. So we can darken in those. Let's take a moment, get caught up there. All right, so now the only other thing we have is the diagonal. Once again, remember, when you look at a diagonal surface from the side, it becomes a rectangle or a square. And this rectangle, square, is 1 inch tall. So we know that if it's 2 inches tall total here, we know it's going to be 2 inches tall total here. It doesn't magically get taller. It doesn't magically get shorter. We don't care, this line right here isn't going to turn up and get taller here. We know the height goes to right here, and we know that this is a flat surface, so it has a line right here and a line right here, and all we have to do is darken it in. It's 2 inches tall. The diagonal surface becomes a square. And there you go. Drawing number 3 is done. Take a moment and get caught up.